This could be the most underrated forged iron of 2026, and hardly anybody is talking about it. So in this video, we're going to test the new Wilson DynaPwr Forged Iron. Now, we have just seen release of the staff model irons, 3 great irons from Wilson. And I think they really took the limelight of the 2026 launch for that particular brand. We have the blade, we've got that CB iron, and then we've got that new XB, the essentially like a P790 hollow construction iron. And I feel that's really took the limelight away from this new iron that is, we've seen it in the past, it looks incredible here now, but the DynaPwr name, but it's the Forged. So DynaPwr is more of that game improvement power iron. Then we have the Forged before then you go into maybe the more players irons, as we maybe call them, in terms of those staff model options. Now, first look at the DynaPwr iron, it's high polish finish. It looks incredible. From the back, it's that cavity that we do see there, but a more clean and more modern, more premium looking iron, I would say, than previous models. We look at the sole, and this is where it's just changed a little bit now, because the sole we used to see a lot of power slots put in there. It looked a little bit ugly in a way in terms of sole. I know we're not going to look at the sole, but just as a clean look, it didn't really have it. Whereas now they've done something else in the back of the iron here, which we'll obviously talk about all the tech in this video, but now a much more cleaner, compact sort of look. So this is really sitting in that player's distance category, which is obviously very popular for a lot of golfers. Okay, so let's have a straight look into that playing position down by the golf ball. It's a really nice look. We have got a bit of offset on there. We have got, I would say, more of a medium to chunky top line there, to be fair. So it's not the slimmest of top lines as you would probably see, but I think you've got to get that balance here, haven't we, of moving from that DynaPwr essentially. So this is offering still ball speed, you know, a little bit of that forgiveness in terms of the head, but as starting to introduce that forged feel that obviously we do see in the staff model options as well. It's a little bit different because all the staff models have gone satin on the finish. This is still a high chrome polished finish, which obviously gives it a little bit of that traditional sort of polished look to it. If you like that, great. If you don't, then I think you might well move more into the staff model options. But sits great behind the ball, very polished heel and toe, satin on the grooves. Okay, little bit low on the face on that first particular shot, but nice and sort of straight. Now this is a 7-iron I'm hitting. Loft-wise, this is coming in at 30.5 degrees of loft, so very typical for that player's distance sort of category in terms of the lofts. The XB, as you work into that staff model, comes in at 32 degrees, and obviously the CB and the blade are a little bit more loft again. So very much blends very nicely through the models there. Okay, so nice high ball flight there, peeking out. Yeah, I mean, 105 foot, that's pretty good height-wise. The land angle, fantastic. So some good stopping power there in and around that sort of 50-degree land angle. Now, feel-wise straight away there, feels really nice. It's a forged iron. It's the 8620 carbon steel, which is forged, so it is pretty soft, and you can definitely get that sort of feedback through the iron. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about technology and what's happening inside the head. So we'll start off with the club face first, and we've got this AI face, variable face thickness, which, as we know, different thicknesses around the club face, really helping on flexion of the face to try and get that ball speed up as much as they can, especially on those miss hits. Now we've got a low CG placement through those irons, which is going to help with creating a higher launch. So yes, the lofts have gone stronger, but what they don't want to do is obviously sacrifice then that peak height land angle in the actual ball flight itself. So CG is relatively low in the head, definitely seeing that really sort of nice high flight, which gives us some good stopping power on that land angle. We've got the PKR cup face design, so the face then wraps around underneath into the sole there, which again is helping with that flexion across the face, especially on those low center hits. And then we've got a urethane filled cavity, so just behind the hitting area there, we've got a little pocket there, which again is going to help with flexion and ball speed, but then that is filled with that urethane substance to help absorb any vibrations and create that sort of slightly more muted sound which is associated with that forged club. It's a super feel, really good feel off the club face. I love the height that ball is sending, even though it's a stronger loft, 30.5 degrees with a 7 iron, still gets some really good peak height and a great land angle there as well. And to be fair, when you look at the spin number there, around that sort of 6,000, obviously that will fluctuate a little bit depending on the quality of the strike and maybe where you're hitting it on that club face as well. But nice spin number there as well, which is refreshing to see because we don't want that spin too low as we lose a little bit of loft. Now, if you're wanting more distance again, then maybe the standard DynaPwr, which obviously isn't forged, will give you that little bit stronger on the lofts. But obviously we'll look at more offset, a lot more chunky on the head and a little bit probably longer blade length in comparison to the forge. So this is a really nice sort of blend from coming out of that game improvement iron into maybe looking to play a little bit more of that need to look. This is a really good option. Beautiful, really high ball flight, love that. That is definitely stopping. No issues on getting that launch. You need to go and get a little bit of launch, a little bit low on the spin. It was a touch off the toe. That's probably what's just pulled some spin off there. But look at that land angle at 50 degrees. That's gonna stop nicely, that. I think the other really refreshing thing as well with Wilson as a whole as a brand, but in terms of when you look at this type of iron, you go into a forged head, a lot of the other big brands are like £1,200, £1,300 for a 7 iron set. So these are going to come in at 929, which is under that £1,000 mark. It's still a lot of money, I understand, but you still get all the options of shafts, the grips. Obviously, you can get them fitted, you can try them, trial them, and really get them built exact to your specification. So just a little bit less than what you're going to get with some of the other bigger brands. Ooh, just leaked that a tiny bit to the right. A little bit low in the face, wasn't perfect, so I'm getting some good feedback through the iron there. It's not completely blanking that off and just so I can hit it anywhere on that club face and not understand where I've hit it. Still getting some really good sort of feel there, and it's not really a big drop off on that slight miss hit. Oh, solid. Love that. Really good flight. Great feel, great sound. I think it's a very confident, inspiring look, that. It doesn't look too small, but it's not too bulbous by any means as well. So again, really nice sort of blend coming out from that game improvement into that player's area. So availability-wise in the DynaPwr Forged, we've got a 3 iron all the way through to a pitcher wedge as well as a gap wedge as an option. Love to hear your thoughts. I think the staff model range has really blown up for Wilson early into 2026. We've seen some really good reviews. I really enjoyed reviewing those as well as an iron, and this one probably is just going to get slightly overlooked because of the launch of the staff model, but definitely consider that if you're in this area and you're coming out of that game improvement iron, well worth looking at. And if you want to pay a little bit less, again, it's another great option. Appreciate you watching the video as always, and hopefully we'll catch you all very soon.